Listen, episode 44. It's Sir William Elvis Escobar for Sama. This is officially sponsored and powered by Billionaires Row. Peace.
Django, Django.
You have now entered the lab with Elvis Escobar, Fort Sama, episode 44. We have a very special guest, somebody that's long overdue, that we've been interacting with, that is probably one of two people, basically, that can approve anything going from unofficially to official. We always said on this podcast, we got to earn it, and that's what we got to do. You know, we believe in consistency and, long-term goals. So with this person coming into the lab, we will have a great experience, not only learning everything about him as a person, but as a businessman. But before we get him into the lab, Fort, are you excited about, talk to me about this process that we're going to do for episode 44?
Man, I'm definitely excited. Like you said, it's been a long time coming. Just, someone that I would love to hear from, just their background, their story, how they started everything, because eventually I'm looking to do, some of those same things. So I'm just going to sit here and soak up the knowledge like a sponge and do the best I can, because this is probably, not probably, I'm going to comfortably say this is the most illustrious person that we've had on the pod so far. So I'm honored to just sit here and talk to this person and interview him and see what happens in the future.
Absolutely. And usually, self-proclaimed, I'm good at doing my intros. I'm good at freestyling them and, entering people into the lab. But this time, with this many, this high status and credentials and respect to this guest, I had to do a little research. I had to make sure I had everything ready. So I'm going to read my little intro and let the rest flow. The guest for episode 44, William Benson. He likes to go as Sir Doctor. Before we discuss, not to disrespect, he earned his credentials. Is the CEO and founder of Billionaires Row, from Milford, Delaware, based entrepreneur, investor, businessman, lifestyle expert, and philanthropist. He is a founder, like I said, and CEO of Billionaires Row, a firm that works in global luxury brand which develops, designs, and markets luxury goods for the modern, trend-setting, and affluent customer. During the college times, William Benson left studies just to be an entrepreneur, and he is the proud of his decision and provided the world that he was on the right way. So this is somebody that has come from what we love to hear. We love to hear that story of going. I hate the saying nothing to something, but self-made, something that when you see the end result of something, you always think they had it the easy way. But we, like myself and Fort, are going to find out, like everybody else here today, the story and what's going on with Billionaires Row. So without further ado, out the mud. So without further ado, we like to welcome Sir Dr. William Benson into the lab.
Peace.
What's going on, sir?
I'm good, Elvis. Ford, how are you, gentlemen?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Excited for this.
This is a long time coming, man. So, you guys got the floor, man. I'll let you guys shoot away.
I'm going to make sure we start this off right, because we had Patrick, the other, your other business partner, on the podcast for episode 6. If you didn't catch that, definitely go back. I personally listened and watched that today. But he gifted me on my birthday, which was a few weeks ago, with a fresh bottle, unopened. I wanted to at least start the episode with, pouring up a little bit, celebration.
Hey,
I thought about no better time to open up a bottle of Billionaires Row with the guy himself. So If I could pop this open real
Your
quick.
time, pop that open, and then we'll toast. We'll toast with some Billionaires Row
Nice.
champagne.
Yeah, please. It's
Process.
only right.
It's only right.
Yes, sir. I had that bottle. He gave. I think I had a bottle last time, and we cracked it for New Year's Eve. Um, so I like to save special bottles for special occasions, but I thought there would be no other time to pop this particular bottle, but having you on the podcast. So
Oh man, that's
let
an
me
honor.
pour it up.
That's an honor.
Pull
That
up.
that bottle is a everyday occasion bottle. Every day that we wake up is a blessing.
It really is, and I heard people say sometimes people, only drink for occasions. This is definitely something that I'm not into. This particular, and it's a brandy cognac. How would you describe this
I mean,
bottle right here?
every brandy is a cognac, but it is a brandy XO. We like to call it our secret sauce, and
Okay.
it's the fuel to our Rolls Royce.
Ooh.
I think you'll enjoy it quite well.
So I have my New York Yankees glass. I save it for special occasions. Myself and you are Yankee fans, which I just learned. We play tomorrow. We're quoting this on Monday night. So if you're listening to this, they might be playing right now. So I know you guys don't have a shot, but I'm going to take it for the three of us.
Hey, cheers!
There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers for it. We got to send you a bottle. We got to send you a
Need
bottle.
that.
Send you. Hold on, I'm gonna send you a bottle through the metaverse.
There you go.
Hey, there you go.
There it is.
Billionaires Row. Cheers.
Cheers.
BR.
Wealth and prosperity.
Yes, sir. So Ray kind of just like broke everything a little bit about you, your background, where you're from, everything like that. But me, I'm a first hand kind of person. I'm hands on. Just if there's anything that he missed or kind of just went over, is there anything that you want to tell us, all our listeners, about you, kind of how everything started, or anything you got?
He's spot on. I mean, like to think that I come from humble beginnings. You've heard my story. My mother had me when she was 16, the oldest of four children, and always kind of just been, um, always wanted to do my own thing. Always was like the kid that could play by himself, and I'd be like, go outside with the other kids, and I could just, just be in my room by myself, just entertaining my own self. Coming up with cool creative ideas, whether how to put puzzles together, how to make my bunk bed cooler, to now as I gotten older, how to come up with really cool concepts and disruptive ideas to put into the marketplace that I think that's good.
Now I've read, and I didn't know this before reading it. You're from the state of Delaware.
Born in Delaware, man.
That's interesting because I think I read what was it? A lot of either presidents or a lot of political power has come out of the state of Delaware, not affiliating you with political, oppositions or campaigns, but you are involved. Obviously, I've seen you in, Eric Adams, of the mayor of New York. Do you feel that sense of pride, coming from Delaware? Because I don't know personally too many people. I'm from New York, Staten Island, so Delaware is kind of almost, to me, no disrespect, is kind of like a forgotten state. It's something you just drive through. You don't really, stop off.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
we're close. We're
yeah,
close. I mean, my relationship with New York, Pennsylvania, and Delaware are so tied together because my families are from that area that it's almost like you might as well say I'm from New York or either from Pennsylvania or Delaware, either or. You know, and when you talk about Delaware and politics, I mean, Delaware is the first state. Um, there's a lot of history from George Washington to all the way down to President Biden. Uh,
hmm
I think the state has a very rich history, being that it is the first state in the United States, and we could speak a lot about Delaware, even though Delaware is very small. It's about an hour drive to it. But
hmm
you know, same thing with Delaware, man. It's just really humbling being born there. Um, and then my mother being in civil service and us being in North Carolina, then being in Pennsylvania, then in New York, um, Delaware gave me this sense of country slash city, where you could go outside and you see like cornfields everywhere. But then you can go up north and it's like gangbang. You know what I mean? It's the streets. So you got really two sides of it, and most people don't know that most of the banks are based in Delaware. Wilmington.
Okay.
Most of them are in Delaware. So a lot of rich history about Delaware.
I like that because I feel like not only can we relate with New York teams as a fan of, but I'm from Staten Island, so I always looked at the city where not only a physical location, but a mental, where it's like we're so close to the city yet so far. We're also, we could see the city, but we aren't the city. There's that kind of fifth forgotten borough, and I feel like I think you could relate with the Northeast, where when you think Northeast, Delaware is not thought of. Did that shape your, your growth, your childhood, and kind of being bigger dreams where you're close to the Northeast, but you wanted it get out of that area?
Yeah, I mean 1,000%. I mean, I think all of us here come from humble beginnings. I like to assume that, and I think that like when like when we were young kids, like the guys we hung around when we were young kids, they were young kids, but they were dope dealers. They sold drugs, right? And when you saw that that Cadillac or that big body Benz or those 20-inch rims at the time or that Mercedes, as a young kid, you would hit your brother or your boy and be like, "That's my car." They're like, "No, that's not
Mm-hmm.
my car. I'm gonna get that car when I grow up." And so those were our triggering inspiration points when we were like 10, 11. We didn't know any better. Those things were like they were bigger than everything. When we saw those things because we really had nothing else to see outside of that. You
I'm,
know,
I'm yeah. I'm glad Ray asked that question because that's kind of where I was gonna go. Like, how did you coming from Delaware? Like Ray said, a forgotten state. How did that kind of like shape you and what you were gonna do, and kind of just like I guess being an underdog type of role. When was that point? You said you always were like creative as a child or whatnot. When was that point, and like did anything like impact your decision making? And when you were like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set out and just doesn't matter what anyone says, doesn't matter what happens. Like I'm just gonna say fuck it and do it.
I think that's a really good question. Um, there was a very pivotal point in my life as a youngster. And I talked about this on a few different podcasts. Um, my mother's lights got cut off when I was a kid, and it was an $80 light bill. At the time, my mother worked three jobs, and as like a 12-year-old kid, it's like really there's not much you could do. When you see that look on your mother's face when she can't pay her $80 light bill. That moment, because I saw what my mother was willing to do to cover
Right.
that bill, and it wasn't the most positive things. Um, so that's when I took action. That was when I was like, um, I used to like play basketball and baseball, and every day after school, I used to have to wait for a ride to hitch a ride back home. And I would see like these Spanish guys that would just be sitting, and you know the stories, right? Where they would just be waiting for work, and I would watch them, and I would be like, where are they going? And there'd be like 5 or 10 of them. They would hop on the back of these trucks. So one day I was just like, I'm gonna just jump on the back of the truck. I'm gonna see where they're going. Curious will, right? And they were taken to this huge corn farm, huge cabbage farm. I remember this trailer in the middle of this farm with like 50 acres full of corn, and they were picking corn, they were picking cabbage, they were picking cotton, and they didn't speak any English. And I would find the one guy, like my friend, I'm 12. I'm 12 years old. I want to work. I'm thinking in my head like if I could bring my mom this $80, then she doesn't have to have this problem. Now, mind you, those my mom's lights were off. You know, now you pay the bill, your lights back on in a couple hours. You know,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
then we had to wait till somebody showed up, and it was I think our lights were out for I would say maybe about 2 weeks. Um, and that was when I started having those experiences of taking baths. And mom would have a kerosene heater with a pot on the top of the stove when I used to bathe, wash my face, um, bath on a kerosene heater, and then I started to become more fearful, really, because those fears set in of me being poor. One of my biggest fears in life is being poor. That was the one of the first things that triggered me to go, not as the oldest. I didn't care if I was 8, 10, 12. As the oldest, I can't see the look on my mother's face being or feeling, because I'm very sensitive to my mother, so I can feel when my mother's hurting, when my mother's struggling in that sense. And so I was like, nah, I'm just gonna go figure this out. And so the truck component with the Spanish guys, and I became really good friends with them at 12 years old. Who would have ever known? And then when I started um, making a little bit of money, we got cable TV. And at the time, BET, MTV, VH1 was the ish, right? And um, I started watching BET, and I've seen this video, this commercial with LL Cool J, and it had this FUBU, rapping about FUBU or whatever, and I saw it, and I saw um, these four black entrepreneurs that were behind FUBU. At the time, we never had a black fashion brand, right? So I was inspired, and I was just like, yo, I got to give me some FUBU. So now I got to make more money. So we had a bunch of woods by my. I lived in a trailer home at the time. I think I asked my mom how much that trailer home was. I think that trailer home was like $18,000, but it was no bigger than. I mean, geez, 3 limos.
I was gonna say a big long hallway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And so I would go into the woods, and I would break break these branches off the trees, and I would find where people would dump all their trash, like just randomly dumping stuff in the woods, and like it would be old lawnmower parts and stuff like that. So I would go into the woods, and I would bring these pieces out, and I would put them together. I would learn how to just like create this push lawnmower, and I would break these branches off the trees, and I would make pulleys and tie them up, and I would start these lawnmowers up, and I would start cutting. Like I lived in a trailer park, and it was like 100 trailers in this park. So I figured if I could cut everybody's yards for $10 after
Mm.
school, that I would get enough money to go buy FUBU and also be able to pay all my mom's bills.
Right.
That was me. That was me at 13, 12, 13 years old, calculating this in my head.
Hmm.
So, I started to do it. I mean, I bought my first pair of white Air Force Ones at 12 years old, and I remember cutting the grass and then not knowing what to do with those shoes. So, you know, um, that to answer Elvis your initial question, that was really the start of the entrepreneurial spirit for me. It wasn't a celebrity or anything like that. It was my mom. It was seeing my mom's face when she couldn't afford to do something. It just hurt me that much. Where I wanted to be able to just help, just contribute.
Yeah, that's the beauty of the grind, and we all have. I think all three of us could say our individual stories, which I think no matter what point of life we're in, we're always going to feel like we're not at the end goal. We're always still competing, whether it's yourself that is successful, has all these all this experience, all this success. And then us in our own perspective, not one better than the other. Just we're all on our own journey. It's great to reflect, and this is what listening back to Patrick's story was very similar. That we were able to relate, where you always talk about the journey, you always appreciate it than the actual end result. And I love. I took a quote and I was listening while I got ready for this podcast. Is he said, you have a quote. I don't know if this is, something that you share often, but something that he mentioned passively, but he went into his story was as far as tying it into Billionaires Row is you don't have to be a billionaire to be a part of this experience and journey. And to fast forward a little bit, I've always wanted to know. I'm always enamored by how something started. How something is thought of, being processed as maybe an idea, and then watching the process go to the end result. And I love that beginning stages because that is most pure. It's the most purest we'll ever find ourselves as an individual and as a company. How did that start? What was the beginning stages? Whether it was you scribbling on a notepad or you just linking up with the right people. Billionaires Row. What was the
Well,
start of it?
so crazy, crazy, crazy story, man. I literally would listen to music and play video games with my friends, and I would jot down when a song would come on. I mean, it wouldn't matter. AC/DC. I mean, I'm a big rock and roll fan,
Nice.
I'm a big hip hop head, big country music fan, and so whatever would come on, I would write keywords down from these songs. And at the time in the era, this was 2009, 2010. I would look up those words, and I would go on GoDaddy and I would look to buy them.
Mm.
And so it was a guy by the name of me and Sakaya Sanford. Sakaya happened to be Kanye's best man in his wedding. And we're sitting in my apartment at the time and we're like, let's come up with something really cool. We're doing this thing called Thinkers Thursdays, which I'd like
I
to
like that.
pioneers of industry. So we would have, 7 to 10 guests at dinner at like STK 21 Club. It would be an insurance agent, and across would be like DJ Clue, and then over there would be like a real estate agent, and over there would be like someone in the healthcare industry, and it was whoever we thought were the dopest people in those industries that were pushing the culture forward in those industries, and we would sit them across from each other at the dinner table, and I would stand up and I would say, now I know no one here knows each other, but let's make magic. And I found that over a good dinner and good spirits, that everyone across from each other had something in common.
Mm.
And that to me created the theme, let's make magic, because I realized that money wasn't made from 9 to 5, it was made after 5. Real wealth in this country is made after 5. And it's across the dinner table or at the nightclub. And it's the same kind of uh, the when the New York Times called me about my relationship with the mayor of New York City. That was one of the things that I said. New York City is known for it's a nightlife city, and he ran as the nightlife president. And there was many a nights that me and him were out 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, rubbing shoulders with celebrities, Wall Street gurus, and influencers. But that is the only way that truly a mayor, can really understand the city. You have to be able to sit with the thugs. You got to sit with the Wall Street bankers. You got to sit with the gang bangers. You got to sit with the nurses, the doctors, because you're a mayor. You're the mayor for all people. You know what I mean? So, but to get back on, you know, the aspect of Thinkers Thursdays, I wanted to be able to bottle that energy, because what I realized after the dinner, man, people would be so geeked, but it was like it was gone. After dinner, it was gone. There was nothing else. So that high or that dream or that aspiration that people wanted to get, it was over. So I wanted to take that energy that was created at those dinner tables and at those events, and I wanted to bottle them up into something that people could actually take with them, right, and consume. Because I feel like, and I believe now more so than ever, that in order to uh, connect with someone or help change someone, you have to connect with them spiritually. So spirits are a big part of connecting spiritually with people. and every bottle you open is a different spirit.
Like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
I
You
just
know,
opened a new bottle, and it is. That was a
so,
perfect transition.
Yeah.
so we so yeah, so now that Thinkers Thursday thing got larger than life. Um, he designed the logo for me, and I was like, nah, that first logo I was like, nah, Sakaya, that doesn't speak to that speaks to this demographic, man. That don't speak to them. I said, let's start over. So we went back to the drawing board. We did it again. I said, okay, that right there, that's nice. That speaks to me. So, you know, fast forward, I had a birthday party at the Trump in New York City, and I remember the bill being some crazy amount, and being really upset that my birthday, I had to end up flipping the bill. And in this case,
Nah.
but someone
Yeah.
did, but they left me with the bill, and it was really embarrassing. But after that, I went upstairs because I had an after party where I invited everybody upstairs, and I remember jumping on top of the table in my living room, and I remember the room getting silent, and I said, I finally realized in my life that I don't have any friends, and the room got completely silent.
Wow.
And then I said, probably about 3 seconds after that complete silence, I said, I'm going to start my own champagne company. And I jumped off the table and everyone started laughing because I guess everyone thought it was a joke. But that right there,
Tells you.
uh, yeah, I felt like I was being played. I felt like when I, a dream or an aspiration or even maybe just a goal, I felt like my friends were laughing at me. And that sparked the journey for me going to France to start my own brand.
Go for it.
Yeah, no, that's that part right there, the ending where you were like, I realize I have no friends. That kind of ties into something that I want to ask more towards the end. But I was watching something that you recently just posted when I think it was like a podcast interview type of thing, and you said how people are afraid to succeed because of once you get to that level, it means danger.
I mean,
Like, you know.
I'll get some context to that because I left it kind of
Yeah,
open.
that's exactly what I
Yeah,
was looking for, and so
I
you
left
can
it
tell the
kind
people here too, because that stuck
of
with me.
um, is I'm a shape what I said on it. I don't know, Elvis, if you watched that
Oh, I
podcast.
did.
It was, what we talking about podcast that I did with my guys Mike and Elliot and Diddy and these guys. Shout out to them. Um, you know where we come from, we see it every day. We see greatness. We see greatness. And one thing that I've learned about greatness is that it can't be explained. And when people don't understand your greatness or you, they fear it. That fear is then triggered by hate, jealousy, or envy, which could ultimately end your life or someone's life just like that. And we've seen it in our community where I just saw a story where a guy shot a girl 5 times because she beat him in a basketball game, where a guy
Saw
steps
that.
on someone's shoes in the club, or someone makes a wrong gesture, or bumps a shoulder bump, or whatever, right? So in our communities, we have seen people dim their light in fear of being persecuted by their neighbor or by the boys in the park, or the girls. If it's a girl walking to school or walking home from school, being bullied, being peer pressured. I mean, these are some of the things that are we've taken over our society through TikTok and through other social media assets that young kids watch, or they see what they see at home, and it influences them in a tremendous amount of way. In fact, I was reading a statistic that verbal abuse is more damaging than physical abuse. When someone tells you you ain't shit, when someone tells you you're not going to be shit, when someone tells you you can't make it, you can't do that, that actually has a worse effect on someone mentally than actually smacking them in their head and telling them they can do
I had a seventh grade math teacher tell me that. I'll never forget her name. I'll never forget what I felt during the time. And yeah, you're right by that.
it. Yeah, and it's like those. So what? And so And that's a huge component of Billionaires Row because what I like, what I call them are falling stars, and we see these falling stars here and there, and all we have to do is look, right? And Billionaires Row is an aspirational lifestyle brand. It allows you to dream, it allows you to aspire to be the best version of yourself, right? Not to be Michael Jordan, because I mentioned that in there. I said
I
you'll never,
love I, lo- I love when you reference all that because that's
you
my
know,
shit.
and you'll never be Diddy, you'll never be Jay Z. You can be the best version of you. You'll never be Sir William, but you'll be the best version of you if you stay on your purpose and you focus on what your aspirations and your dreams are. And all it took for me was one person. Now, those outer voices are very loud, but as long as your inner voices are louder, you'll be super, super cool. And I'll touch on something else too. And this is for Patrick, aka Scott.
AKA Ghost.
Ghost. So that's my brother, right? And me and him go at it. And people don't understand the relationship because it's really a true, genuine, organic brotherhood. No one could ever tell me nothing negative about my brother. And I would go to war for my brother. You get what I'm saying? So when you
That's
have
how he explained it on our episode. Exactly how you're saying.
one call, all Vladimir Putin. No one can ever tell me about my brother. And me and him may have a slugfest. We may beat each other up.
Like Draymond and Jordan Poole.
Not Jordan,
Not like that. Yeah, that's yeah.
close. But when we walk in that room or when we walk on that carpet, it's brotherhood because we understand that we have a real responsibility because we know that people are watching. Even the people that don't want us to know they're watching, you know they're watching. You know what I'm saying? So he's been a tremendous help. And we go through our shit. We got therapy and we cuss each other out, and then we'll be like, look, man, we got bills to pay. What's up? We got this to do.
Yeah.
And we do it because we understand that we can't stop now, right? Because we have a whole slew of people, and I get them. I get in my DMs, like the emails, man, hundreds a month from young entrepreneurs. Man, how did you start business? How can I get into the wine business? How can I be as fly as you? How can I dress as you? I mean, even just the basic questions. Where did you
Yeah.
get the suit? Just that right there can change the trajectory of someone's um, spirit. And I understand the importance of it. So I don't hold it lightly. I beat myself up as a Virgo because I'm always trying to perfect what I'm doing or what I'm creating, you know. And
Mhm.
so if you're talking about billionaires or water, how my mind works, how I'm trying to create something that's just disruptive in the marketplace. The cognac with the spike bottles, or the champagne with my name on it, or being in a room with politicians and celebrities, just being able to balance and manage all of that, and then be a father. Um, Man, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I always have to find balance, um, and for it still touching on kind of like that conversation we started out with um, people losing themselves or losing their lives, trying to find themselves and their dreams and aspirations through their community. Uh, we have a virus in our community.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? And that virus
Strong word.
can spread. Um, it can spread in a positive light or it can spread in a negative light. And whatever is put out there, um, that depending on who puts it out there, can go a long way in doing damage in our community, or it can go a long way with doing positive in our community. And I always wanted to touch on the positive in our community. And I will reflect and say, hey, look, okay, guys, because you know, I'm close to the gangbangers and dudes in the streets, and I'm close to presidents and politicians. And in order to even be acknowledged amongst them, you have to have both. You have to have both. You understand what I'm saying? And When dudes is killing too much in the Bronx or they're killing too much, doing too much in Brooklyn, I have to sometimes bring them together with the mayor or with each other. You know what I'm saying? And so that isn't my responsibility, but it is. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking on that responsibility in my community to be like, hey, look, we're gonna hire you guys for the summer. We're gonna put you guys in the music studio for the summer. Hey, we're opening an art gallery pop up. First 100 kids, we're gonna fund all your art. We're gonna put this up and we're gonna curate it, and every 14, 15-year-old kid gets $100 by me, sponsored. I'm the first sponsor. And this is what we do in our community, man. Through my conversation with young people. I mean, I had a conversation with a young lady that, for an example, she's a 4.0 GPA student living in East New York in projects. Um, Perfect score. She sleeps in her tub. They don't have any room in the projects in their apartment. She sleeps in a mattress in their tub. 4.0.
Mm.
So this is how, and these are untold stories. These are stories
Right.
that sit on my conscience, on my shoulders. She's sleeping on a mat doing her homework, coming home with a 4.0 GPA. This is what I mean by talent, greatness in our community that falls short because of the lack of X, or the lack of inspiration, or the lack of parenting, or the lack of resources. I mean, there's all different type of components and elements. And so, I like to give and spread light on that a lot, because Billionaires Row, when you hear the name Billionaires Row, you think about money, but it's just not about money. It's about aspiration. It's about class, society, philanthropy, love, family, all of those things embodied into one. So hopefully for that touched on your.
Yeah,
Oh, it
no,
did.
for sure, absolutely. Like, I was just trying to get a little bit, but you definitely.
I want to add some context to it. So
Yeah, no,
Of
of course,
course.
because that was like one of the things that I listened to, and I was like, all right, like this, I gotta put a mental note in so I could come back and ask again. Another thing that stuck with me too was how you said that France actually owns the word champagne. I didn't know that. And then you started breaking it down. You're like, these dudes are just drinking spiked wine. I'm like, oh shit! Like,
yeah,
that's insane to me.
so it all goes back to being ignorant, or not being educated,
Naive, yeah.
or naive to consumer product, and being sold on anything. You know what I mean? I want people who follow me to understand the difference between what champagne is and what sparkling wine is, because they're not the same. They're not the same.
That's yeah. That was something that I was just like, damn. I had no idea. I probably would have never even known that. But that was cool. I don't want to keep asking questions, but I'm just like we're flowing and like
Go on.
everything's good.
Go with it.
So one thing that I wanted to know, because I know you guys got more than just champagne, and now I'm glad that you told that story when you were standing on the table and you're like, fuck this, I'm gonna make my own champagne company. I wanted to know if that was like the first thing that you thought of, and then once you did the champagne, what was when you were like, okay, I can't do just champagne, I got to do other things, I got to add on to this, because technology moves fast. I'm sure your industry with alcohol and liquor, that stuff probably moves just as fast. So I know you got to stay with the times. How does that work? Like, what are
And
you
Fort
doing?
mentions it all the time. Champagne, water,
Water,
cognac,
caviar.
All the time.
caviar.
All the time. I mean, in this society, man, technology's moving. Technology changes every 16 seconds, so you really got to be on it.
Yeah,
You got to also be hip, and you also have to be in the know. Um, I like to think that I'm an influencer, influencing influencers,
Mm.
and what I like to think that everyone else likes. I think I have good taste, good fashion sense, um, good taste in a lot of different things: cars, clothes, women, um, you know, you name it. And so for me, anything that I feel like I touch, I feel the masses will enjoy it because I understand what it's like to be here and to be here. And by bringing that all together and adding my swag to it, it makes it formidable for everybody, all walks of life, to be like, yo, you know what? I want to give it a try. So, you got the champagne. And so when you talk champagne, I go, well, champagne, when people hear champagne, they think of success and money. Um, Young people don't associate themselves with it as much because they just were not taught how to bring it together. But that's what we're doing. So we're showing you how to curate, host an event, dress, party,
Yep.
and consume spirit, wine, and spirit product. So it's an
My champagne bottle was a bottle of 40, you know. Back in the day. So that's how we celebrated.
exactly, but there's levels to this, right? You said 40,
Hmm.
right? There's a level to it. Now, when I'm drinking this, right? Behind me, I have Michael Basquiat. I have
Right here. That's why I wore it. I know.
some very famous paint pieces, art pieces. Dapper Dan, somebody who's influenced me. Um, some of the most coolest books and things that are inspired by me that are behind me. Um, these are things that kind of inspire me on a day to day to keep my mind going. Where I go, hey, I'm going to do something really cool. We're planning top of the year to launch our fragrance, our unisex product. That's going to be crazy.
Okay.
Gotta
You know,
add
Okay.
that to the list for it.
we're
Yep.
we're,
Oh, absolutely.
we're
Let me
about
write it down now.
we're about to announce we're unveiling our new tequila. Billionaires Row. Which is going to be crazy. Which is going to be
Let's
crazy.
go.
And so
Let's get it, man.
we're building out a portfolio of products, Billionaires Row, that can speak to everybody. And here's what I mean by that. So, one of the people who influenced me the most out of all of this shit was Stevie Wonder. Me and Stevie Wonder had an opportunity to get together at the Friars Club in New York City, and Billionaires Row was being served. And the history in the Friars Club is crazy. Um, on Park Avenue, next to the Ferrari dealership in New York City, from Larry King to Whoopi Goldberg to Frank Sinatra, those are the members, right? And we're sitting down, we're talking, and I said, I need you to do something for me. He said, what? I said, I need you to try this champagne for me. Tell me what you think about it. He said, all right, go get the champagne. So I ran behind the bar, I grabbed the bottle, I came back to him, I popped it, I gave it to him. He tried it. He said, hey, pour me some more, pour me some more. I poured it. He said, man, this is some good shit, man. This is really good. He said, right before he went to leave, he said, can I take a couple bottles with me? I said, hell yeah. I ran behind the bar,
Absolutely.
bottles. I gave it to him. He was like, yo, this is some of the best champagne I've ever had in my life. And I knew then I had something. Because he
And that's a
can't,
brute rosé, right?
yeah, that's the Brut Rose. Yeah. And then we're launching our Brut as well, top of the year. And I think that people are going to love that because that Brut
For
is
it.
amazing.
I've tried. I'm not a connoisseur and in any stretch of the imagination of champagne, especially rosé. But about 3 years ago, it was Bree's birthday, and Julia, Patrick's wife, came with a bottle, and that's how we had our bottle service. It was nice to be treated like that, like bring your own bottle, pop the champagne, and it was the first time I remember like even tasting it for it. We gotta get our hands on a bottle because
Oh yeah.
first of all, I've never tasted anything better as far as champagne, but also that type of champagne. It's amazing.
Love it.
Like I'm salivating just thinking about it right now. It's a perfect blend of a champagne with a nice little sweetness to it. It's not too sweet. Is that what you're drinking now,
This is what I'm drinking right
dude?
now. This is
It's
what I'm
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah.
I told Bree when we got home that night, I was like, I know it's expensive, but that's something I need to taste a couple times a year as a celebration because it's very good.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it, and it's a blend of Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Pinot Menoir, and those are the grapes that make up Billionaires Row. champagne, and probably about 20% Pinot Noir. Let's say about uh, 14 or no, about 64% of Chardonnay and about 16% of Pinot Noir. So you got that perfect blend, uh, I think I'm excited for the entire world. I know we can't, everybody in the world can't try it, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for the world to really to touch more on it and enjoy more of it. And I like to say that this particular product is all of my failures, all of my
Mm.
all of my pain, my heartache.
All the haters. Cheers to them.
Everything is bottled in that, and you're tasting a bit of everything when you taste it. So thank you so much for
Yeah, we're not, we're not ashamed to let you know, hey, if you got anything, that falls off the back of the truck, whether it's product, whether it's I like those Billionaire Row polos,
oh yeah,
couple hats I've seen. So,
The
if
hoodies.
if anything, like my dad used to say, anything falls off the back of the truck that you want to send us, you got our email address, so you can DM us, let us know,
it's
because we
funny.
will rock it and we'll represent.
I like to be the first to wear like the hoodies and the hats to get the response
You
from
got to. You got to.
Oh, the
just to
Of
jacket,
course.
the Letterman jacket that you got. God
crazy.
damn.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm. I'm.
we're doing two special edition joints. I'll tell you guys sneak peek special announcement. So we're gonna do a Billionaires Row Varsity Ivy League button jacket with all the Ivy League buttons on the front. Every Ivy League team with the real actual patches all to the front, and then we're going to do an HBCU version of that
Okay.
as well. And we think that from a merch perspective, all the HBCUs are going to love it. The way that I'm envisioning it anyway, with all the Shaw universities and Augustine, Morehouse, all the black universities, I think that they're going to really uh, support that. And I think the Ivy League, for me, the Harvard, the Brown, the Yale pieces are a very limited edition, and they'll tell a story around each university with their patch right around them. So we, wait till you see this, man.
Nice.
Oh, we'll be on the
Yeah.
lookout for it.
Yeah. I'm glad that we're kind of talking about like the merch and all that kind of stuff now because I was going through your Instagram doing a little bit of research, seeing what's good, seeing what's up. And I'm glad that you mentioned also that you like to flex, you like to look good, you like to keep updated with the trends and everything. And I also like how you said the part where you got to pay the bills. So I'm a very work hard but play hard kind of person. So what are some I gotta know what are some of like your guilty pleasures where you're like, all right, I got everything taken care of. Let me go. I worked hard for this. Let me go spend X amount on this. Like you do it a few times. Is it watches? Is it chains? Is it cars? Like what is it for you? What does that?
I almost wanted to dress up in a full piece suit for him because I felt like, I
I
had to
need like
match
a
his
mink
swag.
robe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna throw a suit on, and I said, "No, I
If you would have,
wouldn't do
we
like
would have
that.
canceled it.
I wouldn't do like that." You know, for me, I think my creativity comes from the way I feel. You, um, you dress how you feel. Um, and I think that you play how you practice in life. You practice good, you play good. You play good, they pay good.
Right.
Mm,
You understand what I'm saying? And I believe that. For me, I'm big on art. If you guys probably, if you noticed, if you noticed,
definitely.
I huge collector of art. In fact, pre-COVID, I had two art galleries at the Billionaires Art Society, and the premise of those galleries were to teach children who were blind how to read art, and really just collect really dope, amazing local artists that I felt that were really dope artists like Lost Pinos and Love Child and these guys that I think are really brilliant talents that I could spotlight with my following, and my celebrity and my influence, and my circle of friends to be like, hey, this 18-year-old guy is contemporary artist out of this world. We should invest in him. Or this 22-year-old female, her impressionist work is out of this world. We should invest in it. So I spend the bulk of my time really with buying artwork, um, and then also two suits too. I love to
Nice.
nice. I'm not really much a jewelry guy. I will put jewelry on from time to time.
As he
I'll
rocks a little something,
Yeah,
something on his neck.
I'll wear more so my Star David. If you see me a lot,
Got you.
wear my Star David. Um,
Happy holidays.
wear Happy Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. And for me, a nice watch, maybe a Jubilee Rolex or maybe an Audemars or something like that. I'll throw on. If I really want to flex and do something crazy, I'll call in some of my relationships and put something on where no one else has wore it, no one else can wear it. Um, just do something really crazy uh, outside the box. I did something last August. I did a Great Gatsby party. Floyd Mayweather came in and bought everything up in the whole.
Seeing that.
And
Dope.
it's really a great experience. But the money for the Great Gatsby, I turned the castle into a blackjack and roulette space. But all that money went to a charity called D Up, which is a cancer charity. And so we do a lot of charity work in the community in New York, especially. We'll be doing something November 8th. Guys, I'll send you the invitation. We'll be doing something at the Ritz-Carlton
That'd be dope.
in Miami for charity. We're building a small school in Haiti.
Nice.
And so hopefully you guys can come and support in any way, in any way that you can, because there'll be a ton of celebrities that'll be attending, and hopefully you guys can get some great interviews from that. And
Writing it down.
so that's an invitation I'm going to extend to you guys. So
Thank you.
I'm really grateful. So, but yeah, no, I mean, look, for me, little trinkets. I like little trinkets, little nice, cool things. I mean, I like doing really cool stuff with my daughters, and they,
You got twins, right?
I have twin daughters, Giselle and London. They like really cool stuff, and so, just doing cool stuff with them, and they like what I like. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Now it's a little bit more tough. So
So to wrap this episode up, which again we appreciate you hopping on episode 44. Obviously when we started this podcast, it's great to hear about. It's good to know Patrick, and I've known him personally for about 5 or 6 years because I worked with his wife. But it's great to see because I knew him before the Billionaires Row, and I watched the process of him evolving, and we're similar age. So it's good to, always relate to somebody that's going through a process and a journey and see it from almost day one, basically. And now getting to, he was here on my birthday, and not to call myself special, but there's only a certain amount of invites I had on my birthday to come to my house and celebrate with me, and he was one of them, and I'm blessed and fortunate for him to come through and obviously gift me with a bottle. And it's great to hear obviously your relationship with each other, because I feel like myself and Ford are going through the same process. Before Enter the Lab, we had a podcast with another two people, utility players, and obviously that didn't evolve as smoothly as we had hoped, but it got us to where we are now, and we're better off. In no disrespect to them, but we're on our own journey, and we mesh well. That Jordan and Pippen type. You know what I mean? Like pass the ball. We both know our strengths and our weaknesses, and we play off that. We did ask, hopefully, this episode, usually every episode since day one has been unofficially. Maybe we could get your blessing to have episode 44 be officially, presented by Billionaires Row, but also in the future.
Let's officially make episode number 44.
Let's go. Hey.
Put that bottle. Show that bottle. Let me grab my bottle. Hold on.
Let me grab my bottle.
The spike bottle.
Hey.
You can say it yourself. Episode 44.
Listen, Episode 44. It's Sir William Elvis Escobar for Sama. This is officially sponsored and powered by Billionaires Row. Peace.
Let's go, man.
Right there. Let's go.
Sir Dr. William Benson, enter the lab, exit the lab.
My
Peace,
God.
my brother.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's been awesome. I can't
Yes,
wait
sir.
to see this. Let's cook this up fast. It's ready to go.
Let's go, man.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
Go,
Let's
baby.
get
One
it.
love.
All right, family. Be good.
You too.
Peace.
Peace.